Hi, fourth grade. Today we're going to be practicing adding fractions with unlike denominators. So we remember that the first thing we look at when we're going to add, subtract, or compare fractions is if their denominators are the same. In that case, we're like, yes, it's going to be easy. Well, today we're going to be doing the tough stuff. We're going to be looking at fractions where the denominators are not the same. And you guys are going to do awesome, okay? So here's an example of a story problem where we're going to be adding fractions with unlike denominators. It says, Mitchell hiked from camp to Crystal Cave and then to Cedar Lake. How far did Mitchell hike? So we see that he starts at camp. He hikes 7/10 of a mile to Crystal Cave and then half a mile to Cedar Lake. So we want to know, how far did Mitchell hike? How many miles? Did he hike a mile? Did he hike more than a mile? And so we know that we have to add these two distances together in order to find the total distance, right? But the tricky thing is we have tenths and we have halves. So I'm going to teach you today how to solve a problem like this, and then at the end we'll come back and we will figure it out together, okay? So when we're adding with unlike denominators, believe it or not, there are 3 easy steps, okay? The first thing that we have to do is we have to find the least common multiple of both denominators. And we worked on multiples this week, so hopefully they should be fresh in your mind. After we find the least common multiple of both denominators, then we're going to use the LCM to rename the fractions. That means create equivalent fractions so that they have the same denominators. They have matching denominators, because we know we can't add, subtract, or compare them until their denominators are equal. They're the same. And then, last but not least, we will add our fractions. Okay, well, let's remind ourselves that multiples are products that have a certain number as its factor. So in this case, 2 is the factor. We're going to list the multiples of 2. You could also say we're going to be counting by 2s, okay? So the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, okay? I usually try to list at least 5 multiples to start with, okay? Now let's go over here and list the multiples of 10. So we're going to, again, count by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We'll stop there, okay? So now we need to find the least common multiple. Common means that they both have it. So we're looking for the smallest multiple that they have in common. And I can see right here that 10 is going to be the LCM. So I'm going to go ahead and circle that. 10 is my LCM. Oftentimes, you're going to, one of the denominators may be the LCM. Okay, in this case it was. So we could make both of them into tenths, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to use the LCM to rename the fractions so that they both have the same denominator. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1/2 and we're going to turn it into an equivalent fraction with tenths in the denominator, okay? So who remembers how to do that? How do we make an equivalent fraction with 10 as the denominator? Well, we use our golden rule. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So we need to look for the relationship. How do you turn a 2 into a 10? Well, you multiply it by 5, right? 2 times 5 is 10. Whatever we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. Okay, 1 times 5 is 5. So now we have this equivalent fraction right here, 5/10, which is equal to 1/2. So we can cross off the 1/2, and we can now add our two fractions. We have 7/10 plus 5/10. The denominators are the same, so we're going to keep our denominator as a 10, and then 7 plus 5 is 12. All right? So our answer is 12/10, but good mathematicians know that we should definitely simplify this and turn it into a mixed number, okay? So we rewrite it as 12 divided by 10. We have 12 divided by 10. Okay, 10 goes into 12 once. 1 times 10 is 10. We're going to end up with a remainder of 2, okay? So our mixed number, 12/10, is equal to 1 and 2/10. Okay, you could simplify that even more and make that into 1 and 1/5. Wow. More steps than you thought, right? But that's the official correct answer, 1 and 1/5. Okay, so let's go ahead and try some on our own. So I want you to write these down and work through them with me. So again, we're looking at the denominators. We see that they don't match. So our first step is to find the LCM. So I'm going to make my T-chart. I've got 4, I've got 8, okay, and I'm going to list the multiples of both. So I'm going to go ahead and say 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to come over here and list the multiples of 8. 8, 16, 24. Oh, let's see. I can stop. I can already stop because I see that they have a multiple in common. 16 is going to be the smallest multiple that they have in common. Ah, I lied. I'm so sorry. I'm wrong. 8 is the smallest multiple they have in common. See, even teachers make mistakes too. That's why I have you guys to check my work. 8 is the LCM, the smallest multiple they have in common. So, both of these need to be 8s. Well, that's easy enough. This one already is an 8th. So we need to turn 1/4 into an 8. And you guys all know how to do that, right? You write your 8 in the denominator, and then you look at the relationship. How do you turn a 4 into an 8? You multiply it by 2. Whatever you do on the bottom, you must do on the top. 2 times 1 is 2. So now we can cross off 1/4, and we can add 2 8s plus 3 8s because our denominators match. Our denominators are the same. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Our final answer is 5 8s. And hopefully, you know, we're becoming pros, and we know that 5 8s is already in simplest form. We don't even have to simplify. I want you guys to pause the video and try this one on your own. So we have 4/6 and we have 1/3. And I'm going to give you a hint. This one you are going to have to, it may be a mixed number, it may be a whole number. You'll have to find out with your answer. So go ahead and press pause. All right, now that we are back, I hope that you guys found the LCM of both of these numbers is 6. So you realized you have to turn your 3 into a 6. And we turn a 3 into a 6 by multiplying by 2. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So 1/3 becomes 2 6. Then we can quickly add 4 plus 2, which is 6. We keep our denominator 6, and then, oh my gosh, what do you know about a fraction when the numerator and the denominator are the same number? Well, they're equal to 1. So our answer in this case is 1 whole. Give yourself a pat on the back if you got that correct. Great job. Okay, we're going to do one more, and this one is a lot more challenging because you have to create 2 new equivalent fractions with matching denominators. And you're going to understand what I mean right now when we find the LCM. So we have 4 and we have 5 as our 2 denominators. And we need to find the LCM, the smallest denominator that they have in common. Excuse me, the smallest multiple that they have in common. So I'm going to go ahead and start listing my multiples of 4. Okay, 4, I'm counting by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 30, 34. I'm going to stop right there, okay? Not 30, 28. I'm tired. I'm messing up tonight. 28, 32. Okay, so there's our first several multiples of 4. Now we're going to list our multiples of 5. Okay, so counting by 5s. 5, count with me, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, we're going to now hunt. We're looking for the smallest multiple that they have in common. Okay, well, I see that 20, double check me, 20 is the smallest multiple that they have in common. So it's actually 4 times 5 is 20, right? That's the smallest multiple they have in common. So we know that we need to turn 4ths into 20ths. So we write that as the denominator. And we need to turn 5ths into 20ths. So now we have an extra step. Both of these fractions, we're going to have to create equivalent fractions with 20 in the denominator. Okay? So ignore this part for now, and let's just focus on 2/4, turning it into an equivalent fraction with 20ths, okay? So look at the relationship. How do you turn a 4 into a 20? You multiply it by 5, okay? Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. 2 times 5 is 10. So now we have this awesome equivalent fraction. 2/4 is equal to 10/20, okay? Let's look over here. We're going to ask ourselves that same question. How do we turn a 5 into a 20? We multiply it by 4, okay? So whatever we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. 3 times 4 is 12, okay? So now we have two fractions with the same denominator. So now we can easily add them. So we're going to write 20 as our denominator, and then we're going to add our numerators. 10 plus 12 is 22, okay? And if you go through and do the division, you're going to see that that gives you the mixed number 1 and 2 20ths, which you can then simplify. I know you guys are like, really? Simplify again? 1 and 1/10 is your final answer. Okay, I know this is a long video, you guys, but stick with me. I just want you to pause and try one of these more challenging ones on your own, okay? So you're going to have to change both of these fractions into equivalent fractions that have matching denominators. And in order to do that, you have to find the LCM. Whatever that LCM is, that's going to become the new denominator, okay? All right, great job, 4th grade. You're doing awesome.